and fiasco. Jonathan Turley, law professor, says the cases against Trump are doing great damage to the state of New York. Not Trump, but to the state of New York. Listen.
What has happened here is Alvin Bragg's taken one transaction, which years ago, if you brought it at all, should have been a misdemeanor falsification of business records in which there were no victims. Again, nobody got harmed by this. The state wasn't deprived of any tax revenue. He's carved that up into 34 acts that he's labeled as felonies that could put Trump behind bars, theoretically, for over a decade. Over a century. So it's a terrible case, but the judge has been pretty much a rubber stamp on everything that Bragg has wanted to do, including his theory.
All right, so that's Andrew McCarthy laying out what's wrong with all of this. Another legal professional weighing in saying, look, you've tried to spin this into something that it's not. I'm not sure we have bite number 7. That's where I was looking for, was with Jonathan Turley. But if we don't have that, that's fine. I can move forward. But if we do have Jonathan Turley, let's listen in.
That, look, this has really done great damage to the New York legal system and how it's perceived internationally. This is thrilling for many people in New York who, after all, elected James on a pledge to bag Trump for something. So this is obviously playing well to the New York base. But outside New York, and particularly international businesses, are looking at this, I think, with a degree of horror. That a judge could come up with a figure so large you have to sell parts of your business just to get an appeal.
Yeah, just to get an appeal, and it is horrifying. Look, if you're looking at New York to do business, and you say, wait a second, they can weaponize the courts against somebody for whatever reason and randomly seize millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Are you going to do business in New York? And the answer is no. Of course you're not. Absolutely not. There's no chance we're going to do that. But Trump was back in court yesterday. Well, while all of these good things are happening, and people are losing their mind over at MSNBC, as you saw, as good things are happening, he was back in another courtroom, this time taking on Alvin Bragg with another ginned-up case of Donald Trump did all these things wrong. Look, they're losing in Georgia. They're losing in New York, case 1. They're going to lose in New York, case 2. It is a mess. They're targeting their political enemies here. And so Donald Trump took shots at the case put up by Alvin Bragg and the judge that has rubber-stamped this over and over again in the other cases in New York. Here's a taste of that. Listen in.
This is a case that could have been brought 3.5 years ago. And now they're fighting over days because they want to try and do it during the election. This is election interference. That's all it is. Election interference. And it's a disgrace. We'll obviously be appealing. But this is a pure case of voter intimidation and election interference. And it shouldn't be allowed to happen. This case could have been brought by the DA, but they didn't want to bring it because they said they have no case. And then they bring it anyway. As you know, DA Bragg did not want to bring this case. He was forced into it for outside reasons, and it's a disgrace that it can happen. But this was a case that could have been brought 3.5 years ago. And they decide to wait now, just during the election, so that I won't be able to campaign.
All right, so there you have it, Donald Trump weighing in on that. So we have a tremendous amount of news going on today. Donald Trump is not losing Trump Tower. He's not losing the Seven Springs Golf Course. Liberals are losing their minds because of the decision.